Hello and welcome to Freedom News, the news you can use to help keep Canada free. From the National Post, I have this particular, I'll be honest, opinion piece. It's coming from the Fraser Institute. It reads, "Let's be clear, the Liberals have, on balance, raised taxes for the middle class." And the sub headline reads, "Opinion, keeping more of your own income is different to receiving larger handouts, and yet the federal government continues to make this argument." As the federal election approaches, it's imperative that facts inform the public discourse. Instead, there's unfortunately been an increase in political rhetoric from the federal government, along with some flawed reporting on taxes. On June 5th, Joel Lightbound, the parliamentary secretary to the Minister of Finance, rose in the House of Commons in response to a question about taxation in Canada and said, "I find it somewhat troubling that the member for Carleton still refers to a Fraser Institute study that's been debunked by just about anyone who can read and count who's taken 5 minutes to look at it." End quote. The study in question calculated the overall personal income tax changes made by the Liberals in 2016, shortly after they were elected. As promised, during the 2015 campaign, the government lowered the personal income tax rate for middle income individuals, those with earnings between $45,916 and $91,831 in 2016, from 22% to 20.5%. So they lowered it by a whole whopping 1.5%. Article continues, "As the government has rightly argued, this change resulted in lower personal income taxes for Canadians with income in this tax bracket. However, what the government conveniently and consistently ignores is that it also eliminated a number of tax credits: income splitting, children's fitness, public transit, and children's arts programs. Although eliminating these tax credits is good policy since it simplifies the tax system, their removal also acts to increase personal income taxes for Canadian families." Our study compared the savings of the middle income tax reduction against the loss of the tax credits. Overall, 81% of middle income families with children Overall, 81% of middle income families with children experience a net increase in personal taxes. When both the tax rate reduction and the elimination of tax credits are included in the analysis. The common response from the government, including the parliamentary secretary himself, is that this analysis ignores changes to the Canada Child Benefit, also known as the CCB, and income transfer for families with children that the government created to absorb and expand on two previously existing programs. This response is at best disingenuous and perhaps misinformed, and at worst purposefully misleading. The government committed to lower personal income taxes for middle income families. Now, by including income transfers such as the CCB when calculating the middle class tax burden, the government is equating tax relief, middle income families keeping more of their own income, with government transfers funded by other people's money. Common sense and volumes of economic research reject this rationalization. Keeping more of your own income is vastly different than receiving larger handouts from government, and yet the federal government continues to make this argument. Indeed, we sent queries to both Lightbound and Minister of Finance Bill Monroe regarding any study that debunked our tax analysis. While Lightbound said on the House floor that it only takes 5 minutes to debunk our study, after 4 days his office was only able to provide the same common response, which uses government transfers, the CCB, to substantiate tax reduction. Another mistake is to ignore deferred taxes. Indeed, a recent CBC article which evaluated this government's track record on taxation completely ignored deferred taxes. Basic economics tells us that governments can either tax today for the programs and income transfers they provide, or they can delay future tax increases by borrowing. Given that the Liberal government entered office with essentially a balanced budget and decided to increase borrowing since assuming power, it's incurred $7.5 billion in debt to finance new spending. It seems rather important to include these deferred taxes. While the CBC piece rightly notes that overall the Liberals have not materially increased current taxes, they've certainly increased the overall tax burden, particularly when deferred taxes are included. It's important Canadians have facts when assessing the performance of the federal government. And the facts tell us that the federal government has raised personal income taxes for the vast majority of middle income families, while also deferring additional taxes to the future to finance more spending. Nothing the federal government has produced refutes this reality. This is written by Jason Clements, Jake Fuss, and Tegan Hill, which are economists with the Fraser Institute. I couldn't agree with them more. Again, this is proof that the Liberal government under Justin Trudeau has manipulated the figures, manipulated the facts, basically lying to the Canadian people to make his government seem oh so great, when in reality they have been disastrous. Another good reason why Trudeau must go. And thank you for watching. Remember, like if you like, share, comment, of course, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And if you're able to, please feel free to click the PayPal donation link in the description. Thank you, and God bless.